Well, it's our favorite season of the year here at Soccer-Wise and Kickback because it's championship season. We did our Bracktobers. Everyone put in their brackets for NWSL, MLS, USL Championship, USL League One. We've got the League One Championship in the books. We've got the NWSL Championship on tap this weekend. And we have the USL Championship Cup as a part of that as well, because if you have championship in your name, you just make things as difficult as possible. And we have two big teams ready to go to bat for this one, FC Tulsa and the Pittsburgh Riverhounds. And with us, the star of the Pittsburgh Riverhounds. Very rarely is that said about a goalkeeper, but we've got Eric Dick with us of the stingy Pittsburgh Riverhounds backline.
Hello. And let's just say there's a lot more important players on this roster. I'm just one of many awesome players on this roster, but I appreciate the kind words.
So talk a little bit about the experience of being a goalkeeper on a team that is making a run like this, and not just this year, over the 2 years, with such a defensive identity and core.
Yeah, I mean, it just makes my job a lot easier, having a good defense in front of me. But I will say, like, here in Pittsburgh, it's not just the back line. It's from the striker, from the midfield, all the way back to the back line. Like, everybody defends in their individual roles, and so I just think it's a staple of Pittsburgh Riverhounds soccer, and I've come to just become a part of that in these past 2 years and become an extension of that. And it just makes us a hard team to break down. And, you're always in a game when you have a good defense.
You mentioned, last year in your first year won the Golden Gloves Award as the best goalkeeper. And what was your thought as you entered Pittsburgh, knowing that this identity does exist for this club?
Yeah, I mean, obviously that's always going to be a perk for a goalie, you know what I mean? But it was simple. I mean, the coaches did a good job laying out what they needed from me. They needed me to, command the box, come out for crosses, do the simple things, and make saves when I was called upon, and just be smart with my feet. And so, like, they're not asking anything that I feel uncomfortable doing. And I feel like, again, I just want to go out there every single week and just be an extension of an already amazing defensive plan. And that can lead to a talented attack as well. So it, excuse me, definitely like, was exciting to go into it, but I had to do my part for it to even, work out. And luckily I had a lot of help, last year and this year. Especially.
You then have big opportunities when it comes to PK shootouts, which is really like goalkeeper's time. What's your mentality, your preparation? What do a shootout mean to you?
Yeah, I mean, they kind of make it no fun anymore because you can't really do many like crazy antics. You can't really do cartwheels, and like the first thing is not even good luck. It's you can't touch the crossbar. I'm like, right. Come on. But no, I mean, when you make it that far, you just know that the players did their work for 120 minutes, and you just, as a goalie, you're like, all right, now it's my turn to sort of, have their back as they've put in the work. And, I have full faith in the players to go up and step up and make their shots. And, yeah, I mean, we prepare throughout the week. We do some, research, and we practice these things to be prepared for all scenarios, PKs included. And for me, I just go up there and, just try to put the pressure on the kicker because, I mean, they're 12 yards away. I mean, they should score. Like, right. It's just like the odds are very against us as goalkeepers. And so, again, just, try to put the pressure on them, smile at them or something, like, because that's the fun that we can have, I guess. But and just, pick a side and go and just try to make a save. Try to make a save to keep us in the game.
Let's stump for this right now. What is the restrictions and what should goalkeepers be allowed to do?
I think up until the whistle, like, up until the whistle, I think they should be allowed to do whatever they want on the line. You know what I mean? Like, not approach the kicker or stuff like that. Like, if I want to do a cartwheel, like, I should be able to do a cartwheel. Not saying that I personally would do one, but I know there are goalies out there that would love to do it. But I get the no touching the crossbar because then they got to wait for it to stop vibrating because, then the ball could hit it in the crossbar. I get that part. But I just, I just say it because it is a scenario where the odds are so far against us. It's like, and now like, obviously it makes sense. Like we got to have a foot on or, behind the line to do it and stuff. So, I would love to, if they would just change it back to the old style PKs and the 1v1s. I mean, that would be electric. If you want my opinion, like I think we do that. That would be really, really fun. But
the dribbling shootout with the 5-second clock.
Yeah, I've seen so many videos of that, and I'm just like, gosh, that looks electric. But nah, penalties are just one of those scenarios where you just gotta have fun with it, because it's not a scenario you always, as a goalkeeper, get yourself into, but it's one where you can become a hero, and you just try to save one. Just try to save one.
Yeah. I do always wonder, what is the convo? Is the convo with the ref the same every time? Because the rules are what they like. I find it so odd that there's even a need for the ref to come over and do that little speech and then have you guys shake hands.
Yeah, I think the big point of emphasis is just make sure you're not leaving the line early. Okay. I think that's what is emphasized more. Yeah, in the first shootout, that was the only time they mentioned the crossbar. After that, in the second shootout that we had, they just mentioned the line and just, this is where you stand off to the side. Like, you don't, like, we're going to take the ball and give it back to the opponent. You don't have to do that, like that kind of stuff. Because then you open the door with all these little antics with the soccer ball and stuff like that. I don't know. But yeah, most of it is just, don't come off your line and where you're supposed to stand when you're not in goal. But I wish a ref would just come over and just like change the mood and be like, "So guys, you guys having fun?" Like, like have a little lighthearted little combo or something like that. But
well, you didn't need the shootout for the Eastern Conference Finals. It was a 1-0 win. Is there this feeling inside the group of like, if we get one, that's all we need? Like, we know that gets us over the top?
That's tough against a good opponent. You know what I mean? Like, Tulsa has a lot of good attack, and they're a great defense too. But I think you've seen it a little bit once playoffs happen in soccer. It's that it really is that first goal is so important. And you see it in the results throughout the playoffs this year. There's been a lot of those 1-0 or once you get the first goal, like. So I don't think we will ever have the mentality that, one will win you the game, right? Like 1-0 is a win, yes, but it is a 90-minute game, and especially in a championship, there's not going to be, neither team are going to stop playing until that final whistle. So I don't think any lead is safe. I don't think any mentality of saying you have a safe lead is the right mentality. I think you always got to have the foot on the gas and stick to your tactics and team principles, whether you're down a goal, whether you're up a goal. Like, I don't think the game changes a little bit, but it shouldn't, because that the other opponent has been here probably multiple times throughout their season, and they're more than capable of getting a goal at any point.
This Tulsa team is sort of the lone high seed that has really been able to stay alive and make this run. Is there a feeling of underdog? Is there a feeling of going on the road? Like, what's the conversation inside the group about this matchup?
Yeah, I think it's we are not thinking like that. I think, if you look at purely the ratings, or like the rankings, yes, we are the underdog, but I think when you get this far in the playoffs, like the playoffs are a summary of a full season, right? So like there could be, there was Detroit went and beat Louisville, who had a historic season, right? Who's to say that Detroit was actually like deserving of that 8th seed, right? Like they could have been much higher seed. It's just the summary of a full season. So I think when you get to playoffs, everybody deserves to be there, and everybody's sort of a little bit on an even playing field, because anything can happen. Truly, anything can happen in the playoff. But Tulsa has deserved, or has earned their number 1 seed. 57 points is not easy to get in a season, and man, do they have a talented roster, and now they're going to be at home with 9,000 plus of their fans behind them. So we have a task in front of us that is harder to complete than if we were hosting, them at our place, for sure. But, we know that we've been in some hostile environments this year. We know that we're going to prepare like we always do, and we know the talent that we have on our roster, and honestly, we're just excited. They could call us an underdog, they can call us whatever. We're the Pittsburgh Riverhounds, and we're ready to go compete for a national national championship, USL Championship. I think the guys are just excited. Yeah.
It has not been a straightforward season for you all. You finished with the 4 seed. One of the big pieces of news was, of course, your head coach being put on administrative leave. What did that do to this group? And maybe how surprised are you then to be where you are now after what you've had to go through?
I think we just have the whole year has been sort of like up and down, and that's soccer. There's been some good results, some stuff that didn't go our way, and then with Coach Lilly's situation thrown in when it did, it's never easy. But I think because we have a team full of experienced leaders and experienced soccer players, and the other coaches ready to step up, I truly, like, it's been a seamless sort of transition of, like, we didn't have time to sort of like wonder like what's going on and stuff like that. Like we were just like, we got to handle what we can handle, and that's our effort on the practice field, our effort on the game field, and we still have a season to play. No matter what is thrown our way, we know that at the end of the day, we're Pittsburgh Riverhounds soccer players, and on the weekend we got to go and try to get a win for the Pittsburgh Riverhounds organization. So I think the leadership has really shown through there, and we've taken it just game by game, and we've prepared, the same way, week by week, and just grinded our way into the 4 seed, and we're fortunate enough to now be playing for a championship. So I think big props have to be to the coaches and the leaders in the locker room of just making sure everybody stays on the same page and knows that our focus remains the same.
You obviously will be going on the road for this championship game, but you were lucky enough to get to host up until now. What has been your relationship with the Pittsburgh fans, and what is it like on the river at night for a playoff game? It seems like one of the most special environments in the U.S.
Yeah, when I was sort of in the offseason 2 years ago, I got a call about this potentially being a spot to come in and try out for. I didn't really know much about it, and you Google Pittsburgh Riverhounds, and that stadium's right there. That stadium's right there on the river, and I'm like, yeah, this is gorgeous. Like, this is unreal. And then you get there, and you're like, wow, pictures don't even do it justice. Like, it is the coolest stadium I've ever played in, and like the fans are just diehard fans. Like, Pittsburgh fans are just ridiculous. Like, they love their sports, and I've had the luxury of being able to go to a Pens game and a Pirates game. Haven't made it to the Steelers game yet, but they are just diehard sports fans, and that pulls through into our games as well. Like, they just show up, and the Steel Army shows up every single week and just cheers relentlessly. And then after, one of the traditions I love is, we let kiddos and families onto the field after, and we get to meet them, sign autographs and everything, and you just hear their excitement of the experience that they've had. I think our Tuffy and our ownership has done an amazing job of making Pittsburgh a really cool place to come just watch a game and support the team. And so we have a lot of people that do a lot of work on a weekly basis to put together an amazing atmosphere at Highmark Stadium. And it's so awesome to be able to play in front of 6,000 people every single week. And me, as someone who just gets amped up in terms of when you get in like an atmosphere, right? Like, atmosphere plays a huge role in sports. I can't think of a better one, and we're very, very lucky and fortunate that the past 3-4 weeks we've been at home, and they have literally pulled us over the finish line because our fans are just amazing.
Looking ahead, if you are able to get this done, what would a championship mean to this group? What would it mean to bring it back to those fans? It's a long year, but for a lot of people, it's a long wait, a long career. Like, as you head into this big game, what do you think about?
I think about I think about the people that have come before me, the people that have set the foundation of this club, and then I think about the future that this club wants to get to, with the new stadium plans, the goal to be in Division I. I think about everything that Tuffy has put into this year in and year out, the coaches, the medical staffs that have helped us, the marketing teams, like everybody that's worked hard. Like we want it as players, but I know they want it as much as us. And then you look at the fans, right? There are fans that have been supporting us for years, far earlier than I even showed up, or just general Pittsburgh sports fans. And I think that anytime you have a chance to win a trophy and just bring it back and share it with everybody, I think it's such a cool experience. And I think that is something that is motivating us as well, because it's not only for us, it's not only for our families, it's for all of Pittsburgh to come and enjoy this hopefully championship. And so I think that's you could call it a responsibility, but just sort of like an honor to really, like, once we get out on that field, we're not only representing our organization and ourselves, but we're representing the whole city of Pittsburgh, and we want to do them justice and hopefully bring home a championship for them, so we can all party together in the city of the Three Rivers and all the bridges and everything. We'll just lock down the city and hopefully have a fun little party.
I can only imagine a Pittsburgh party is one that we all want to be at. The odd part of these games is you spend all year playing these games and getting to know these teams, and now the championship's against a team you don't know. What has tape been like? What is the conversation about what this Tulsa team provides and how you go into this matchup?
Yeah, it is weird. I think they're one of 2 or 3 teams that we didn't face this year. And meanwhile, I think we played Rhode Island this past year. Like, we played them like 3 or 4 times.
Right.
So, excuse me. It's one of those scenarios where, again, you just have to look at video, as you said, and we will analyze their attack, their defense, how they go about doing things, and then we go out on the field and try to mimic it and just try to see what our game plan is against them. And that's what we have to go off of is just video and scouting. And our coaches are tirelessly going over that and relaying that to us. And we have a responsibility in our own time to know what our roles are going to be and watch some of the things that they send us. And I think for us, it's just a matter of having the plan that they set forth, and then we just got to go execute it. And it's something that we've been doing better and better, I think, as the season has gone on. We can be a lot better, but I think in soccer, there's never a full 90 where you can look at it and be like, you've been perfect the whole 90, right? But I think that's our goal, and I think we'll be prepared with video and scouting and just practicing as we always have. Again, it's a big game, but it's just another game, and there's not really anything that we have to change in terms of preparing. It's another opponent that's trying to beat us, and we have to go in there and take it from them.
One-on-one, Taylor Kailera, one of the top goal scorers in the league, will lead the front for this Tulsa group. As you prepare for a striker like that, what are you looking for? What are you sort of thinking about?
Yeah, I sort of, if you watch videos of strikers, you can sort of see, like scenarios and tendencies in certain scenarios, which foot they like to go in certain scenarios, some stuff like that. Mm-hmm. But you also, as a goalkeeper, you could focus directly on them, but you also, you can focus on ways to defend them by communicating with your back line and who's stepping here and then who has to cover this run if he goes in the hole, who's running through, stuff like that. So I think for us, it's not only me and the back line and the whole team looking at specific players, but also just the team around that specific player and how we're going to go about defending them in certain situations and just overall and limiting their effect on the game as much as we can, because great players find a way to have an impact on the game no matter how much you plan for them, and he's had an incredible year and he's going to find his moments in the game, and we just have to do our best to limit them as best we can. And so my part is just watching video and just, again, staying true to who I am as a goalie and trusting my fundamentals of the things that I practice and just communicating with the back line and trying to make sure that we're a sound defensive group for as much as the full 90 or 120 that we need to be.
It has been one of the most consistent clubs in all of USL over the last 20 years. Looking for a huge moment this weekend with a championship and a chance to shut down all the bridges and rivers and celebrate it. Eric Dick will be between the sticks for that one. Good luck. Thank you for joining us, and hopefully we'll talk to you again on the other side of a successful final.
Thank you very much for your time. Appreciate it.